Hello, football fans. We are ready for NFL picks for week number 15 in the league where they play for pay. Great to be back with you. The best audience in all of YouTube is right here. Week number 15 already. Let's do some bookkeeping. Next week, week number 16, will be the last show I'm doing until September 2021. I never pick week 17 in the NFL. Too many games don't mean anything. A lot of teams are locked into their playoff spots, so they're resting players. Not many matchups between two teams that need the game. So I never pick week 17 to begin with. And I'm not picking the playoffs this year. I give you guys what you want. The viewership determines what I do. And I noticed the last few years, the regular season, I get great viewership. Once it gets to the playoffs, it kind of, goes down. A lot of people don't bet on the playoffs. And a lot of people, they only follow the NFL when their team is still around. So if they're not in the playoffs, they don't watch. So I give you guys what you want. So let's keep it an NFL regular season show. And listen, I've done all sorts of shows in the past. I did college football with my friend Joe, and we did 2-hour shows. Not that many people seemed interested. I love hockey, but only about 10 people in my audience seem to like it. The NBA, I'm really down on. I talked baseball for a while. No one seemed interested. I'll talk UFC, I'll talk boxing, I'll talk anything you want. But the viewership determines what I'm going to do. Wouldn't mind doing March Madness. I used to do the brackets for years. Couldn't do it last year because they canceled the tournament. No idea what's going to happen this year with college basketball. No clue what's going to happen with college basketball. It may be May Madness for all we know. So as of now, I probably won't do a March Madness show. So next week will be my last show probably until September 2021 when we're back for the start of the NFL regular season. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Let's get right to it. NFL week number 15. Think favorites this week because there's a lot of good teams at home playing a lot of bad teams. A lot of bad teams on the road, so you know where I'm headed this week. Pick number 1. Let's go to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, with the Green Bay Packers at -9 against the Carolina Panthers. Panthers down to 4-9, lost to Denver. They've lost 7 of 8 games. Green Bay up to 10-3. They beat Detroit. And guess who's the number 1 seed in the NFC right now? The Green Bay Packers. And that is very important. Only one team gets a bye in the NFC. Only one team in each conference gets a bye. Right now, Green Bay has it. Same record as New Orleans, but they beat New Orleans already this year in Green Bay. I talked about this last week. No margin for error. New Orleans came up small yesterday, and now Green Bay has the number 1 seed. And do you think Carolina is going into Green Bay and winning? No, not going to happen. 3-team teaser. Move it to pick 'em and take the pack. You got to like the pack. You have to. You can't like Carolina. They've lost 7 of 8 games. Green Bay's the number 1 seed. No matter how you play it, you got to like Green Bay. That's pick number 1. Pick number 2, let's go to Indianapolis, Indiana. Indianapolis, the Colts, a -7 against the Houston Texans. Houston down to 4-9, lost to the Bears. Oh my goodness. The wheels have come off on the Texans. Remember when they were a playoff team? Ouch. How about Indianapolis? 9-4, beat the Raiders. Tied with Tennessee for the division. Right now, Tennessee has the tiebreaker. The Colts have had a really nice year. And remember, they lost their opener to Jacksonville. Jacksonville has 1 win this year. The Colts got that game, they'd be in first place. But the Colts have done a nice job. They've gone to a running game. Stay away from those turnovers with Phillip Rivers. Defense doing some things. The Colts have done a very nice job this year at 9-4. A very nice job. I'm going to move the line to 1 and take the Colts. What could you possibly like with the Texans after what you saw, this past weekend in Chicago? They got obliterated by the Bears. And we know the Bears aren't all that great. And the Bears just laid it on the Texans. Colts will have more than enough here to beat the Texans. I move it to 1 2-team teaser. The Colts are pick number 2. Pick number 3. Let's go to Nashville, Tennessee, Music City. With the Tennessee Titans a minus 8.5 against the Detroit Lions. Detroit down to 5-8, lost to Green Bay. Tennessee up to 9-4, bombed Jacksonville. Henry had a monster game. Boy, he is something. He's like a freight train when he gets going. He's not just big, he can move. He can move. He can move. He's like a locomotive. Where do you think I'm going here? I mean, come on, the Lions on the road? Get real. Tennessee's fighting with Indianapolis for the division. 2-team teaser, move it to 2.5 and take the Titans. You gotta like the Titans here. How could you possibly like the Lions on the road? Stafford is banged up. Who knows if he's gonna play? I mean, come on. Tennessee, pick number 3. Pick number 4, and let's stay on this theme. Let's go out to Los Angeles, where the LA Rams are minus 17. Minus 17 against the New York Football Jets. Jets 0-13 got bombed by Seattle. Thanks for making the trip, Jets. I mean, just got obliterated by Seattle, missing field goals all over the place. What did the Jets kick? Missed 3 field goals in this game? I am stunned about how bad the Jets really are. They have no talent. What have they been doing all these years? I mean, what have they been doing? I thought they had all these draft picks and this salary cap and they were going to stockpile all this talent. They stink. 0-13. They're not going to win a game. And we knew this back in week 2. They weren't going to win a game. Oh my goodness. New York Football Jets, embarrassing. They have the inside track for the number 1 pick. We'll see who that number 1 pick is. There's a bunch of quarterbacks coming out. You know, Lawrence, Fields, you know, quarterback from Florida, quarterback from North Dakota State. I would think it would be Lawrence. We'll see. We'll see what the Jets do with Donald. I would think they would look to trade him. Rams, they're up to 9-4, beat up New England on Thursday Night Football. I told you this last week about the Rams. They can play some defense. And when you can play some defense, you are in every game. You have a chance to win every game. And the Rams can play some defense. If they get that running game cooking, that opens that play-action fake-up. Then the Rams become a very dangerous team. I like what I see from the Rams. 17 points, this is ridiculous, but you got to take the Rams. Look what the Jets did last week in Seattle. They lost 40-3. Is it going to be any different this week? No. Any way you play it, straight up, you know, super teaser, 4-team teaser, whatever you do, you got to take the Rams. I do not know if the Jets are staying on the West Coast this week or if they're flying back and forth. Does it matter? They could send the Jets to the moon and it's not going to matter. You got to like the Rams. That's pick number 4. Pick number 5, here we go again. Let's go down to Baltimore with the Baltimore Ravens, a minus 12.5 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville down to 1-11, got smoked by Tennessee. What else is new with Jacksonville? They've lost 11 in a row. And you have Baltimore tonight plays in Cleveland. So that is a monster game for Baltimore. Monster game. They have to have it, you know, to keep pace with Miami for that last playoff spot. So a monster game. And by the way, I think Jacksonville is actually 1-12. I think they've lost 12 in a row, but I've lost count. So monster game for Baltimore tonight in Cleveland, and they will bomb Jacksonville, Baltimore at home. They will bomb them. 14 teaser, move it to pick them, take the Ravens, away we go. Next pick, let's go to pick number 6. All right, we finally got a decent game here. Pick number 6. Let's go to New Orleans. The Big Easy Mardi Gras. Fat Tuesday. Who dat? One more time. Who dat? With the Kansas City Chiefs a minus 3.5 at the New Orleans Saints. Kansas City up to 12-1, beat Miami. Kansas City has won like 5 games in a row by less than a touchdown. They're winning the close games. They're winning the close games, Kansas City. That's a sign of a very good team. To me, right now, Kansas City is still the best team in the AFC. I know their defense sometimes gives up some points, but they make stops when they have to, and that offense is ridiculous. Mahomes had 3 interceptions yesterday, and they still won, and still put up a boatload of points. It's ridiculous. And then you got the Saints. 10-3, lost in Philadelphia. Lost to the Eagles, who hadn't won a game in over a month and were playing a rookie quarterback. And because of that loss, the Saints have now dropped back to the 2 seed. And if it stays that way, New Orleans will have to maybe play in Green Bay for the NFC Championship game in cold weather. And they've already lost to Green Bay once this year. That was a bad loss by the Saints. They were sleepwalking in that game. Tried to rally late, had a chance at that onside kick, couldn't pick it up. But the first part of that game, they were sleepwalking. They were sleepwalking. They looked like a team that had won 9 in a row. They got fat, and they said, Philadelphia, rookie quarterback. We don't have to show up for this game. We're going to polish them off. And the Eagles took advantage. The Eagles were inspired, and the Eagles got off to a big lead and held on. That was a bad loss for the Saints. And listen, I know Peyton has a Super Bowl, and Breeze will be back. He has a Super Bowl. This Saint team has a lot to prove. A lot to prove. Remember, 3 years ago in the playoffs, they lost to Minnesota on that miracle play on one of the worst offensive sequences in history. Then they lost to the Rams the next year in the Superdome. That was the infamous pass interference call that wasn't called. I didn't think the Saints played all that well in that game either. I know everyone focused on the pass interference. The Saints had chances to win that game before and after and didn't get it done. And then last year they lose at home to Minnesota in the Superdome. And they got carved up on defense. And I know they had a few injuries, but they lost again at home in the playoffs. So they have some things to prove this year, the Saints, because they've been in the upper echelon now for a few years. So to me, it's Super Bowl or disappointing year for the Saints. And that was a bad loss yesterday. And now they got the big bad Chiefs coming in. And Green Bay's got a very favorable schedule. To me, I think Green Bay's going to get that #1 seed. As far as this particular game, I'm going to move the line to 9.5 and take the Saints. Don't know if Breeze is coming back this week. I think the Saints will play a lot better in their building this week. I think this is a field goal game either way. The Chiefs, like I said, have been in 5 straight close games. No reason why this game can't be close. Saints plus 9.5 in the Superdome. That's pick number 6. Who dat? Pick number 7. Let's go to the jungle in Cincinnati, where the Pittsburgh Steelers are minus 11.5 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati down to 2-10-1. They've lost 5 straight. The wheels have come off since Burrow went down. I think A.J. Green is out for the year now. Pittsburgh, they have now lost 2 in a row. They are out of the #1 seed, and they are taking a million injuries. I talked about the Steelers' schedule last week. Baltimore, Washington, Buffalo in a 10-11-day span. I said that was going to catch up for them. It did. They've taken a couple losses, but more important, they've taken a ton of injuries, especially on defense. They already had lost Bush for the year. They lost Dupree for the year. It's 2 of their best linebackers. Everyone is out on defense. Now they had 3 guys out on the offensive line. They'll get a lot of these guys back, but still, they lost 2 quality linebackers in Bush and Dupree for the year. You can't replace them. And you see the schedule and the injuries are starting to take their toll on the Steelers. I do not like the body language of the Steelers, and they had it all their way for like the first 10, 11 weeks of the season. Even their offense now not clicking, not running the ball as well. No big plays downfield. Don't like what I see from the Steelers right now. They're starting to take a step backwards. Cleveland ever wins this game tonight, the Steelers are in danger of actually winning the division. Because remember, they still got to play Cleveland one more time. The Steelers could fall back to a wild card team. It's not impossible. They still have to play the Colts and go into Cleveland. Not liking what I see from Pittsburgh, especially on the injury front. You got to stay healthy. You have to stay healthy, and they're not doing it right now. They will take care of business here against the Bengals. 14 teams are moving to pick them. They will beat the Bengals. No problem here. But the bigger picture, I'm a little worried about the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. That's pick number 7. Pick number 8. Let's go down to Washington, D.C. Oh, what a story we got here with the Seattle Seahawks. A minus 3.5 against the Washington football team. Seattle up to 9-4, bombed the Jets. You had to figure that. Seattle had the bad loss the week before the Giants. They weren't going to lose to the Jets. They bombed them, polished them off. How about Washington? How about the job Washington is doing? They're up to 6-7. What is that, 4 in a row, I think? Beat San Francisco and Arizona. How about this defense Washington put together? They are playing really well. Really well. Chase Young is all over the field. The defensive front is ferocious. Ferocious. They are playing some lockdown defense. And then you got the great story with Alex Smith coming off that leg injury. Now, he was a little banged up yesterday. Haskins came in at the end. But what a story Washington is. Alex Smith, a great story. The defense, a great story. Coach who I was on in the past has done a nice job. Washington in first place because the Giants lose yesterday. Washington is in first place. And they have done a really good job. Their defense is solid. Solid. And this Chase Young looks like a monster. He looks like a monster. And how about Bostic? He's playing well too. He's been on a million teams. He never played this well, on Pittsburgh or any other teams. He's playing really well on Washington. So Washington has done one heck of a job. If Smith plays, I'll move the line to 9.5 and take Washington. Their defense has been playing so well. I mean, Seattle, long trip can be a little shaky sometimes, especially on defense. Should be really cold weather here in the Northeast. There might even be some snow. Out of respect for Washington, I'm going to take him this week. Move the line to 9.5 if Smith plays. If he doesn't, I'd probably stay away from the game. The game could go either way. This is a field goal game either way, I think. It's a very interesting game because remember, Seattle's right there with the Rams for the division and still hosts the Rams later in the year. So this is a big game. Big game for both teams. I'll move it to 9.5 if Smith plays. If not, I'll throw it out. That's pick number 8. And pick number 9, this will probably be my final pick. Let's go to the desert in Arizona where the Arizona Cardinals are -5.5 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Arizona up to 7-6, beat up the Giants. Giant quarterback was awful yesterday. Jones, he looked terrible. He couldn't move from here to there. Arizona took advantage of it. The defense finally played well. Arizona in that last playoff spot. They're only up by a game right now over Chicago and Minnesota, and Chicago and Minnesota play this week, so one of them's got to win. So this is an important game for Arizona. Philadelphia, let's give them some credit. They're up to 4-8-1, beat New Orleans, seemed inspired. Hurts played well. He did some good things throwing and running, stayed away from the interceptions, did have a fumble late in the game that let New Orleans back in the game, but overall I thought a very good job by Hurts, and the Eagles seemed inspired. Now, let's see if they can do it 2 weeks in a row, and let's see if they can bring that show on the road. I'm going to move the line to pick them and take Arizona. The Eagles got to show me they can do this consistently. Hurts has to show me they can do this consistently, that he can do this consistently. If they win, I'll be sure to give them all the credit next week. But I'm going to go Arizona here. Home, big game. Eagles, don't trust them still. Despite the win against New Orleans, I'm going Arizona. That's pick number 9. And I'm going to stay away from all these other games. Like Cleveland and the Giants is a very big game, but I have no idea what's going on with the Giants at quarterback. They played Jones yesterday. He was not healthy at all. He couldn't move. 3 fumbles. They took 8 sacks. He should not have played yesterday. I have no idea who's at quarterback, next week. Will it be McCoy? Will it be Jones? But Jones was not ready to play yesterday. So I'm going to stay away from Cleveland and the Giants, even though that is a very big game. Miami, New England, down in South Florida is a big game. I'm going to stay away from that game just because you know how Belichick is going up against rookie quarterbacks. So I'll stay away from that game. I really would like to pick Miami, but I'm a little scared. Look what happened 2 weeks ago when New England played the rookie quarterback for the Chargers. I mean, ate him up, won 45-0. A little leery of that game, so I'll stay away. Not going anywhere near Dallas, San Francisco. Not going anywhere near Minnesota, Chicago. Not going anywhere near Denver, Buffalo. Denver's a strange team. I'd like to see a little bit more from Denver and Locke next year. They're a very strange team. They have some good wins, then they fall back sometimes. I'd like to see a little more from Locke next year. Atlanta, Tampa Bay, I'd probably look over in that game if I had to play it. And then Vegas and the Chargers, not going anywhere near that. Very disappointed in Chucky Gruden and Vegas, especially on defense. They fired their defensive coordinator. Vegas is an offense-heavy team, and they have no defense. And then when they turn the ball over, it looks even worse. I mean, they couldn't stop the Colts at all yesterday. I thought Gruden would have a better handle on this defense by now. They have no defense. None. Zero. And that's why I go back to when Gruden took over. They should have kept Mack. They needed that defensive presence. I don't know what happened there. Mack's saying if Gruden would have called him, he would have stayed. Gruden never called him. Bizarre. He's a star defensive player. Why would you want to lose him? Guys like that are hard to find. They can wreck the game. And you can see the Raiders have no defensive presence. They're not good at all on defense. They stink. They stink on defense. They can get some things done on offense, but they're too one-dimensional. So very disappointed that the Raiders are 7-6 and could easily be 6-7, because let's be honest, they should have lost to the Jets. And that's saying something. So really disappointed with the Raiders, and I'm not going near Raiders-Chargers. I know the Chargers won yesterday. Coach really needed that game. I can't go near those games. So I'll stick with those 9 picks. As far as the playoffs right now, NFC, it's Green Bay, New Orleans, the Rams, Washington, Seattle, Tampa Bay, and Arizona. That's your 7. Minnesota and Chicago right there. And in the AFC, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Tennessee, Cleveland, Indianapolis, and Miami. Baltimore right there. Baltimore needs this game tonight in the worst way. And I guess you can't count out the Raiders, although I have no faith in them now. And that's the way it is. So there you go. You guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. I will talk to you guys next Monday. The last show until September 2021. So definitely tune in. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thanks for the support, not only this year, but throughout the years. I really appreciate it. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. Pick a lot of winners. Make a lot of money. Enjoy the games. We're coming down the home stretch now. Hard to believe we've been doing this for almost 4 months already. I'll talk to you guys next week. Take care.